Thank
You
you,
want to hear
Tiff.
how, you want to hear how I would do housekeeping, Tiff?
Yeah, I would love
Yeah,
your
no,
suggestions.
I don't know if you would do or don't, it's probably not, just put your damn things on mute and listen and pay attention and all that other stuff. So
How about all you have to say is like read your email, but real estate agents really don't read their email unless it's like a contract or something coming over. It's the
You
only
know,
time.
One
I
of these
do
days,
read it.
I'm gonna
I
play
read the
around. I'm gonna
first
do
word.
a poll. I'm
I
gonna
read
do a
the first
poll for
word
you
and then I
guys.
delete the rest.
We'll see what
All right.
kind of intro they prefer. The same one that Tiffany does every single day. Tom's direct, just blunt, shut up, turn on your cameras, just listen. Curtis is check your email, or George's smack to the face. Those will be your options. Everything's
So-
ready to go.
So good morning, everyone, and congratulations on taking time out of your busy morning and investing in yourself to be here today. I'm super excited to make an announcement of who we have on our call today, and I'll let Curtis do the introduction. He's going to look up. See, he just looked up. I got him. He's like, what are you talking about? So today we're going to be talking about, our Friday calls are about coaching. And I want everybody to know that coaches push people, coaches bring information, coaches lead their teams, coaches are their blind spots in their business. Coaches are the ones motivating you, influencing you, all these different things. So congratulations on always being on these calls, and we see the same faces over and over. I challenge every one of you to grab someone else and say, get on these calls. It's going to make a difference in their business. If they don't get on these calls, I promise you won't see them in 6 to 8 months if they're struggling. People that struggle avoid presence. People that struggle avoid being interactive. And here's why. They're ashamed, they're embarrassed, and they're everything, all those other things. So if you have agents in your organization, if you have agents that you know that are struggling, get them on these calls. It'll bring light to them, I promise you, because as long as they stay disengaged, they will be they're not going to be in the business much longer, or they're going to be looking for another place to be non-productive. So happy Friday. Hope everyone had a fantastic week. We got some great stuff in the near future. We are already past the first quarter.
Tom, I'm glad you said that, my friend. Q1's over. And
Q1
by the
is
way,
over.
And guess what? And by the way, April is over too. Because if you don't have it under contract right now, it ain't closed. Like it's not closing. Like April's over. We're working on May at this point, right? But that's okay. That's okay, because we can catch up. We can do the things. You guys are here. And as you were saying, we got a great speaker. We saw him up at the Regional Florida Rally Training event, right? Tom, I'm going to let you introduce him though, because you know more about him than I do.
So I'm great at introductions, and I'm going to do that so fast for you, and boom, he's going to take over. So again, we are already past our first quarter. Guys, I want you to understand something. If you have a written goal and you're not looking at where you are year to date, you're missing an opportunity to achieve your goal. And if you're behind on your goal, the goal doesn't change. The activities moving forward change, right? So you just have to double up, right? Double up. Keep doing the things that you're doing, but at a higher pace. I read and I read something yesterday. I read scripture and I read all kinds of stuff every morning before I get my day started, because I have to get started in a positive note. And here's what it said, and it's through James. And Frank, thanks for helping me understand a little bit of this. Yesterday, I was talking to Frank. You know what you ought to do and you don't do it is a sin. Period. You know what you need to do, you just choose not to do it because you're afraid or whatever it is, and you're not trusting the process. So it's a sin. I'm like, holy cow, I need to get back on track. I think I'm doing the right things daily and I'm sinning constantly. Right? So me too. All right. So guys, Curtis was kind enough to reach out to Russ. He was at our regional rally on last Monday. Russ is a regional director of growth for the US with EXP. He's taken time out of his busy schedule to be with us today. He's taken the time to join most of us Floridians in our warm weather while he's up in Michigan enjoying the nice cool weather up there. No, he's like shaking his head. Russ is an amazing individual. I love talking to Russ. He's got great enthusiasm, and that is my introduction. Russ, guys, take out a pen and be ready. If you don't have a pen or a paper to take notes, go back and re-listen. He's going to be sharing some amazing information and sharing stuff that's going to make a massive impact for you immediately in your business. And it might even sound a little redundant from what we talk about on a regular basis on Fridays. Russ, go ahead, my friend, and thank you for being here.
You're quite welcome. Good morning. How are you guys?
We're amazing.
Great.
It's funny because I was watching all the people flying around in Cabo and having a good time.
Amazing.
Cabo, and I texted a picture of my sandals, and I was like, my flip-flops are pissed off because they really want to be flipping and flopping right now. They're just sitting in a pile of snow. Like you don't get any flip or any flop in Michigan this time of year, although it was really nice yesterday. It was 40.
Heat wave.
Woo! Everybody's all excited. It's like, it's a beautiful day. I'm like, it's 40. So 17 years in Florida myself. Yeah, I still don't like the cold. So anyway, so I found an excuse to come down there last week, which was great. So thank you for the introduction, guys. Do appreciate it a bunch. Let's just dive right in. So a couple of things off the top of my head. We're already 3 months into the year, right? First quarter's done. And it's super important that you guys understand that you're not done yet. You're not done till you quit, right? You're not done till you quit and then you don't get back up. That's when you're done. So there's a lot of people that have a struggle in the first month or two, or they have a struggle week and then they compound it into a struggle month, and then they compound that into a struggle year, and they compound it into a struggle decade, right? So the key is just draw a line in the sand right now, count backwards from 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, boom. That's how you jump. Remember standing on the edge of a diving board when you were a kid? And you're like, I want to go. You're like, and just count down and boom, off you go. It's exactly the same thing with business, right? Because for some reason you're stuck, and to unstick yourself, count yourself down from 5, and boom, when you hit 0, move, make some action, take some action, do something, right? So here's the fun part. What I'm talking about today mostly is going to be things that you guys will probably say, or you should be saying, hey, I can do that. I can do that, and I will do that. I can do that, I will do that, and I've already got a plan to start doing that. And when you start thinking like that, then you start making movement forward on things you enjoy. Because see, here's a tough part. In the real estate business, a lot of times we're taught, what you got to do is you got to pick up the phones. You got to be not afraid to pick up the phone. And my thing is like, I know because we watch it and we've tracked it a bunch. Very, very few people are going to pick up the phone proactive, but they love to answer their phone. So here's the fun part. I'm going to tell you the same thing you've heard a million times because it's true, but I want your phone to ring, and that's why you pick it up. See the shift? Inbound calls is what I'm looking for. Inbound action is what I'm looking for. Inbound attracting things to you is what I'm looking for. So I've got 3 recipes we can walk through today that will help you get business to come to you. Okay. So here's a fun one. Tom, you missed this. You missed this. I was at another event, and I think you guys as coaches would get a kick out of this. I was at an event and I said, all right, how many of you in this room consider yourself an expert? Let's ask that question here. How many of you consider yourself a real estate expert? Right? Almost everybody in the room put their hand up, Tom. I was like, gotcha. Watch this. All right. So how many people in the room could tell me what the supply of homes currently is, or absorption rate? What is that number? How many of you can tell me what that number is? Put your hand up if you know that number and you're willing to say it out loud. Curtis, you know what happened? Everybody put their hands down, right? And one guy pops his hand up and does what almost always happens. Somebody gives kind of a half-ass kind of somewhere around this type of market number. And I said, all right, guys, so everybody pick your feet up off the floor. Everybody really legitimately, I was like, all right, so you cannot call yourself an expert if you don't know what basic real estate market update information is. And I smile, and I say, and guys, listen, I love you, but you're just like every other office I've been at, every other speaking gig I've been at. This happens all over the country. So it's not just you. So we as a real estate industry have to get better at this. You have to become an expert at understanding what the real estate numbers are in your market. So first things first, recipe number one is something you guys should be doing already. You guys should be doing a real estate market update. Okay, real estate market update. That is recipe number one. Okay, and here's the reason why. Number one, as a real estate expert, you should know your numbers, right? Number two, as a real estate expert, if you start talking this way and saying these things and spitting that stuff out on a regular basis and people see you doing that, they're going to start calling you because they're going to start seeing you as their expert. So people say, well, Russ, how do I get more people to do business with me? It really is this simple. They need to start seeing you as their expert. Now, if you talk market stats one time a year, they're not going to see you as an expert. But every month you're doing a short market stat thing for them. And then we're going to show you a couple different ways to get it to them so it works better. And then they're going to start to see over the next 12 months, consistent action over the next 12 months doing that, you will start to have business coming to you on a consistent basis. And I know this for a fact because I've tracked it and we've watched it and we've done it with hundreds and hundreds of agents. We did it in Florida, by the way, in the Florida market. It works. I know because it worked in Tampa. Okay, right down the street. So with that said, a simple real estate market update is one of the easiest ways to get people to come to you. And let me show you guys, and let me ask you guys a question to make sure we're clear on this, that this is super serious, okay? I'm out and about, I'm going somewhere, I'm doing something, have a conversation with somebody, and they say to me, hey, Russ, well, what do you do? And I say back to them, I'm a real estate agent. And the next question they ask is what?
How's the market?
I could see the lips moving, right? How's the market? Guys, put your hand up if this happens to you too. All right. All right, good. Every single room I'm in, I get that same response too. It is pretty much the only thing that I get on a regular basis. I get one hairball, weird one here and there, but for the most part, I would say 95+% of the time people ask me, how's the market? And then, of course, you know, when I was in Orlando, I said this directly afterwards. I was like, all right, so what you end up doing next is then somebody says, well, Russ, you're going to get asked how's the market. So you got to have an elevator pitch, right? And we've got coaches all over town, all over the country, all over the world that teach you got to have an elevator pitch. And the problem is that exactly this. If you go into an elevator pitch, what happens is somebody asks you a question, you go into sales pitch mode, they run. Every single time. So have you guys experienced that too? You're like, I got my elevator pitch. How did it go? And everybody goes, yeah, it went great. No, it doesn't, right? So let's be honest with ourselves. We're doing something consistently in the real estate industry that does not work well. Does it work on occasion? Yes. Does it work well? No. When I say well, if it's like 51% of the time it works, that's good, right? 25% of the time it works, it's way better than what everybody else is getting, right? So even at 25%, that's better than doing the elevator pitch, which is a problem because people go on defense. Then when you go on offense, they go on defense. So what we need to do is start answering the question different. So when I was in Orlando, I said this and I made everybody repeat it back, right? It's like, instead of doing an elevator pitch, you simply do this. You know what, Tom, people ask me that question all the time. I do a real estate market update every month that tells people what's going on in the market. Would you like me to send it to you? That's it, right? That's it. So by the way, last week, a girl texted over and she's like, I did the thing just like you said. I went to the coffee shop and did this thing you said. And the lady asked me what I did. I told her I was a real estate agent and you won't believe it. She asked me, how's the market? And I said, you know, I do a market update that tells people what's going on in the market. You want me to send it to you? And the lady says, yeah, because I'm thinking about selling my house in the next couple months. And then she goes, Russ, I got a problem. I'm like, what's the problem? I don't know how to do a market update. Good problem to have because you can learn this quick, right? It's not a really hard thing to do, okay? So with that said, real estate market update is the most powerful tool in your repertoire. So now people will say, hey, Tom, well, I need to build my business. What do I do? And we've got all kinds of great stuff as coaches. We can tell them what to do, right? And here's what I tell people. I tell people, start going out and do things you enjoy with people that are similar and like you, and do more things that you have fun doing, that you enjoy doing, and you're going to meet people while you're doing it. Now you have a way to convert this conversation because this conversation is going to come up all the time. Because if you go to the bowling alley, welcome to Michigan, you don't go outside in Michigan in the winter, right? So what do? Why do people bowl? Because you can't go outside. Your face will freeze off. My hair froze off 2 weeks ago. I had a full head of hair 2 weeks ago. Froze, broke it right off. So you're out bowling and you're bowling with a couple people, and then they put you in front of another team with 4 other bowlers that are just like you, and then you guys interact back and forth. Somebody has a beer or 7, and then you're like, hey, what do you guys do? Oh, well, like, I'm a machinist. I do this, I do that. Like, I'm a real estate agent. Really, how's the market? Boom, off you go, right? It's going to happen all the time. Riding my bicycle, people would ask me, how's the market? I used to ride my mountain bike in Florida a ton, and people would ask me, how's the market? And then I realized in my head, I'm going, oh my gosh, I'm doing most of my business with people that I mountain biked with. I'm like, well, I should be intentional with this. Okay. So what I want you to do is I want you to shift from thinking, how do I get business from people, to how do I give stuff to people? And when I shift from trying to take and trying to get to trying to give, I will start to get. Ooh, that was good. You recorded that, right? That was good. I'm not usually awake and talking to people this time of day. So I might come up with something interesting. All right, so
It is recorded for you, Russ, if you need it.
beautiful. So stop trying to get, start giving, and then you're going to get way more. Okay. So that's the mindset going across the board. So first things first, I'd say, let's build our real estate business. Now I'm going to intentionally build my real estate business with my real estate market update. So when I have an interaction with somebody, I can just start ticking them off right after the next. So what I would say, if you want to build your business up to the point where you're going to do somewhere in the range of 12 to 24 sales a year, right? 12 sales a year, easy. Okay. All I've got to do is say, I've just add five people to my sphere of influence every week doing stuff that I enjoy. And by the way, I don't have to just be the one channel bowling channel every day. Well, I bowl 7 days a week. You don't have to do that. You can go ride a bike. You can join a bike group. You can join a bowling group. You can start a walking club. You can do a hiking thing. My mother-in-law did quilting for years. There's like 75 of them that quilt. They don't even quilt anymore. They just sit around eating cookies, but they hang out together because they're all wired the same. Right? So you just find your people, find your tribe doing things that you enjoy. And some people say, well, Russ, I don't really know what I enjoy. What? I hear this a lot, guys. Curtis, I hear this a lot. Like, what do you do for fun? Well, I just take care of it. Like, ladies, I hear this from the ladies all the time. So ladies, you ready for this? Look me in the eyeballs. Okay. You are not a slave to your family. You're not the family servant, right? You are a human being, and the best thing you could do for your family is show them that you are a good human being, and you go and do things, and you have interests, and you have things you enjoy, and you take time for yourself. You're going to raise children to treat women well, and you're going to raise your daughters to be strong women by showing them you can have a hobby and do fun stuff. And the kids don't always have to come first, because you're human too. Okay, boys, you can listen to that too. But I say that to the ladies all the time, because I see, well, they just do the family channel. It's a family channel. It's a Brother Rush. You don't understand. You got to set it in your head to say, hey, I'm going to do things to take care of myself. And let's be clear, ladies, I know for a fact, the stronger you are, you're going to be way better for your family. Okay. You can't live in burnout mode all the time. Okay. So find a way to make that happen. Find a system for that. Find somebody you can partner with and say, on Tuesdays, the kids are yours. On Wednesdays, the kids are mine. I'll take yours on Wednesdays. You take mine on Tuesdays. Now I can go do my bike club on Tuesdays, or whatever it looks like, right? Find a partner in crime. My mother-in-law did that technique when she was young with the kids. My mother-in-law had a friend of hers, and the friend used to take Anjanette and Dana over to their house on whichever day, and Anjanette took the other 2 kids on the other days, right? And they traded them back and forth. Right? So there's a way to do it if you put your mind to it. So what I want you to do is I want you to intentionally go out and have fun. Yeah, again, right. Yes. They're very simple, not easy, but make it happen, right? Losing weight is simple. It's not easy. Make it happen. Building muscle is not easy. And it's not simple. I don't know how people get as big as Tom. Okay. I've been working on it forever. I've been working on the same arm for like 8 years. Just one arm. It's not getting any bigger. Okay. So what I want you to do is intentionally find a way to go out and have fun. Now, ladies, if you have children, men, if you have children, you have an unfair advantage. I don't have kids, right? So I can't go to a playground and just hang out. They call the police. They're like, what's that guy doing here? Does he even have a kid? Which kid's his? None of them. And then woo, woo, woo. Like, what are you doing here, sir? I'm just hanging out. There's people hanging out here, and I like to talk to people, and I like slides. Not no more. All right. So you can take your kids on play dates and do things that you can get engaged, right? Soccer. So now I'm thinking, okay, doing soccer, I talk to somebody, we're talking back and forth. Hey, well, what do you do for work? typically a lot of people avoid that conversation. Now I say, hey, what do you do for work? They're going to ask me what I do for work. So intentionally add 5 people to your sphere every week. And that is 20 people that you're going to add per month, which is 240 people in a year. And if you work these 3 recipes well, these 3 recipes will convert at about 10% if you work it really, really well over the next year. Now it doesn't convert at 10% day one, and at doing this intentionally over the next year, at the next year, you start to reset and track that numbers. You're going to have to send me a handwritten note, by the way, send me a handwritten note that says, hey, Russ, just want to let you know, my sphere is now hitting at 10%, just like you said. And guys, there's a guy in Tampa. You can call him on the phone. His name is Ian Walters. He sent me a note a couple of years ago, about 2 years ago. It's still floating around in one of my drawers of my desk over here. And it says, hey, Russ, I just wanted to let you know that I am hitting at my sphere, doing the things you told me, and I'm hitting on my sphere at exactly 10%, just like you said. I was so happy to see that, right? And then at the bottom, it said, P.S. I should have listened to you 8 years ago. Right? So start this now, start building your business intentionally, start adding people intentionally. And now when you're adding people intentionally, all you got to do is say, hey, I do a market update every month that tells people what's going on in the market. Would you like me to send it to you? And they almost always say yes. And if you get somebody that says no, run from them. Those people are weird. There's something wrong with them. They ask you for something, then they don't take it when you offer it. Run from them, right? You're never going to make them happy. If a potential pain in the butt client could put their hand up and say, I'm going to be a pain in the butt, and they put a sticker on says, I'm going to be a pain in the butt, would you look at it and listen to it? Wish they would do that, right? They don't normally do that. This is a perfect example of when they do that. They're like, I'm going to be a pain in your butt. Okay, just run from those people. Okay, so I would rather see you have 4 in a week than take that one person that asks you about the market and then doesn't want your market update. Okay, so you guys know, in a span of 3 years in Tampa, I just did that and picked up 543 real estate agents doing that. That's all, right? I was intentionally adding people to my sphere, specific type of person to my sphere, and I could add 543 of those people to that sphere in 1 year. So do it intentional, start tracking it, and keep track of it, right? On a monthly basis, am I hitting my goal? On a weekly basis, am I hitting my goal? It's Friday. Do I have 5 people in my sphere right now? Nope. Well, I better go out and do something fun where I can connect with other people so I can have this interaction and collect their information. If I get name, address, phone number, email address of all the people I do that with, and then I follow up with them the next day. So here's the fun part. In that interaction, not only do you have an interaction where they ask you something, you offer to give them something, they say yes, I get their info, but then I don't send them the market update until the next day. And you know why? Because by the next day, they completely forgot about me. The good news is then they get this note from me that says, hey, sending you market update as promised, or I'll just type in the title, I put as promised, right? And I'll send them a link to my real estate market update. And then now, not only have I made a connection with them, they asked me a question, I offered to give them value, great. And I told them what I was going to do. And the next day I followed up and did it. Now I have credibility because I did what I said I was going to do. So how else do you go into an interaction in a casual environment, doing the things that you normally do on a day-to-day basis and convert people that you know and get them to know you, like you, trust you? That know, like, and trust comes from being credible, and that delivering it the next day helps you with credibility, right? So would you guys like a video that's a little bit longer version on how to do a real estate market update so you know how to do that?
Russ, that would be absolutely awesome. We actually have a GPS icon page on Workplace as well. But Tiffany, is that could you please get that through Russ, please? Because we would love to share that out with everyone.
Okay,
good. And here's the other thing, Russ. I love what you just said. I just want to piggyback on that, because most people can get the market reports right from their MLS. They have them right on their MLS.
Yes.
And some board of realtors actually send out a video monthly on the market report.
Yep.
All you have to do is mute that, put your own voice on it, and send it out.
Yeah, so agreed. So there's a bunch of different ways you guys can do that. There's I've trained a ton on just how to do that. So most of you guys are in Florida, I take it. A bunch of you guys are in Florida. Okay, so almost all of you guys have the system called Matrix. That is the back end system of your MLS. So when you open up your dashboard on Matrix, there's those little tiles. First you got to hit those things. It's like, I read this, 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 and then you go, I should log into the MLS more often. By the way, it happened to me yesterday. And then when you get those to disappear, typically one of those tiles says market stats. And if you click on it, it says more, it opens up and it'll show you what the history of the market stats are. Okay. So I do a full length video on how and why to do a good real estate market update with details. By the way, I also have a video for those of you, how many of you guys have been in business less than 10 years? Yeah, a bunch. Okay. So very, very normal. Okay. So here's the cool part. If you've been in business under 10 years, there's some real estate history that you guys need to know. So you have some context, because there are a bunch of people that are around, including you guys. And some of you guys look pretty young, which is good. I love that. But you weren't really in the real estate game in 2002, 3, 4, 5. And some of you guys were homeowners in 2, 3, 4, 5. And some of you got burned and lost your house in 2, 3, 4, 5. And some of you guys just saw the carnage in 2, 3, 4, 5. Which translated into 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 downturn. Okay. So I have a video where I talk to people in Tampa, by the way, that work for a friend of mine. And I said, let me give you guys an overall, let me give you the context of the market so you understand how this works and how it worked and what created that. So you know how to speak to that. Because what happens is people say, well, Russ, I'm expecting the market to do a downturn like it did before. And I'm like, no. And let me tell you why. Because I can tell them, no, this is not the same thing. But if I just say, no, this isn't the same. Now they have to rely on my credibility, right? So if I tell somebody something, my credibility has to be high for them to believe me, okay? If I tell them something and then show them something, now it takes my credibility almost completely out of it. Okay, because there is some interpretation there, but it requires a lot lower bar of credibility to be able to get somebody to believe you when you show them something. So I don't say, you know what, your house is worth $438,000. And they're like, okay, cool. If I have a high level of credibility, like, dude, rock it, do it, list it, go. Okay. And if I don't have a high level of credibility, it's like, let me show you. And I still will always show them why, because I want them to see why and know why they're priced where they're priced. But let me show you why that is that way. Okay. So here's what is under contract right now, which means if your house was priced there, you'd be sold. Did you see what I did? I just programmed them where they should be, right? And then, by the way, here's the ones that actually closed, under contract, done. You should be sending them cookies because you got new neighbors, right? Welcome wagon should be over there with cookies. Okay, so if your house is priced there, that's what we're expecting to get for it. And by the way, here's the competition. So based on that info, where should you be? It kind of narrows it right down, right? Okay, so it's the same thing. But if I show them that, then they go, bing, light bulb pops on. Great. I don't have to just believe Russ. Now I know I'm priced right because he showed me why that number is where it is. Okay, so you don't tell them, you show them. And it's the same thing with real estate market update. You got to show them what's going on in the market. So here's the fun part. Tom, there's a lot of people that like to do shortcuts with this. And I'm so glad you didn't go there, because I'm like, I don't want to hit you. I don't want to slap you around in front of these guys. But they're like, well, all you do is you just go on there, you take that and you repurpose it. And somebody I know here thought, I'll just take that and send that out to my people. And what I want to tell you is don't do that, right? Because I don't want you to have them see Tom as the expert. I want them to see you as the expert. And they got to see your pie hole saying it out loud, because now it ties to you and you show them the numbers, and now you have credibility and your credibility goes up. If your credibility goes up, do more people want to do business with you? Yeah. So every month you could strategically make your credibility go up by doing a good real estate market update. Okay. So I've got a recipe, and I'll shortcut that one because I've got the recipe actually in a short line video. By the way, Tom, there's a guy named Buddy Buck. What a great name. I call him BB. Buddy Buck, he's in Washington, and he asked me to do this with his team just on that one recipe. And I did like a 20-minute version of that. I'll send you the link to that, which breaks down exactly how you do this. So keep in mind, there's more instructions here. So you guys want to see this. Okay. So you want to do a hyper local real estate market update. You want to do an area real estate market update. You want to do a state real estate market update on occasion. Okay. And here's the fun part. In the process of pulling the information for the hyper local, you're going to see all the other info anyway. So just write it down. Now you got the material for two things. So I do the research one time. By the way, this research takes me like 8 minutes. And that's only because I'm slow. You probably do it in 2, right? But 8 minutes after you do it 4, 5, 6, 7 times, you start seeing trends, right? So you're going to tell them what's going on in the market. And then here's the difference. And I'll tell you to get more details about this in the video. You tell them what the numbers are, and then you tell them what it means. What does this mean? right? So some of you guys are gonna get stuck on that. So I've got a video on how to talk through this stuff so that you make sense and people understand you. Okay, so I will never say it is a 0.7 month supply of homes. Well, I'll say it, but then I'll say, and what that means is, so guys, in my immediate area here, my in-laws are closing on their house today, here in Livonia, Michigan, where it's 28 degrees outside right now. Not that I'm bitter. And in the market that they're in right now, the Livonia market, where I live also, we're at a 0.7 month supply of homes. 0.7. It's up to 0.7. Thank God. Inventory went way up by 0.2. Okay. So what that means is that it is still a hardcore seller's market. So if we put a house on the market, it's probably going to go under contract in the first 24, 48 hours. There's going to be multiple offers. Even in a February, there's going to be multiple offers on a house. Covered in snow, we're going to have multiple offers on a house and a bidding war on the house. And it's exactly what happened, because that's what happens at a 0.7 month supply of homes. There's nothing available. So buyers are still on the struggle bus. Okay. So with that being said, you tell them the context and then what it means. Okay. But they got to see you saying it. So you got to start doing video. Are you guys all doing video consistently, regularly? Yeah, no, you're not. Okay, so there's one lady, one young lady is, of course, some of the youngins do it, which is great. I love that, right? Okay, dude with a tank top and big muscles, of course he's doing video because you look good. He's pretty. All right, so you guys got to start doing video, okay? Video is a simple thing where you just got to start doing video. You just got to start doing it, right? Listen, guys, if you don't like the way you look and you don't like the way you sound, that's normal. I don't like the way my face looks on video. Well, get over it. The good news is you guys got practice here being on Zoom all the time because you got to see yourself. So you kind of get used to it. Okay. So I shot a quick video on how and why, how to do a good short video. Would you guys like that too? Tom, you want that too?
Yeah, so what I did is I invited you into our page on Workplace. So if you wanted to drop them in there or drop them in on our today's call that's recorded there, that would be awesome, Russ. We appreciate that.
Good. There's gonna be a pile up on aisle 4 there. So I got a whole pile of stuff. You guys are gonna like, what happened? Oh, just Russ was here. Okay. So I got a short video on how to do that. So you want to say, okay, I'm going to commit to adding 5 people to my sphere of influence every week until I'm highly successful. And I say, okay, I've had enough till my phone's blowing up. Okay. Here's the fun part. If you add 240 people to your sphere doing that, and you have a couple of other things that we're talking about, which is get the little short video stuff going, which is pretty cool. And you got a video on how to do that. It's pretty easy. Guys, my stuff is super low tech. You're gonna be like, Russ, did you hand record this? Yeah, right. I don't care how you get it done. You get it done. And by the way, the stuff that's done more manual like that, that's not over processed, connects better because it feels like a human instead of somebody trying to sell them something. Okay. So my stuff's all super low tech. Check it out. Like say, hey, you've been doing this for 10 years and that's the best you got? Nope, I've been doing it for 10 years and I do it that way on purpose because it still connects to people, okay? So 240 people, how many sales is that at 10%? 24, right?
24.
So here's the fun part. I know you guys are gonna miss a part in a piece here the first year. So even if you screw it up, you could still be and hit it at 5%, which I call half donkey. You half donkey it. You're still at 12 sales. How many of you guys 12 sales would be a good deal? How many of you guys 12 more sales would be a game changer for your family? Yeah, right. So should you be committing to doing this? Yeah, I've got a couple hands up. I'll grab those in a second. Okay. So real estate market update. I'm going to send you a video on how to do that. I'll send you the context video so you can say what happened in the market. How did we get here? And why is this different? And I'll send you the video on how to do a good short video. Okay. Just try it, do it. Tom, what I would do if I were you guys as coaches, I would set up a challenge with your team and I would set up some kind of gift maybe of some sort, some kind of award for doing video well. And here's what I'll do, Tom. Let's do this. If you're going to shareholders, Tom, you're gonna be at shareholders, right?
Of course, yeah.
Of course you'll be at shareholders. So if you guys are at shareholders, you go to shareholders and Tom, whoever wins, I'll buy you and whoever else lunch. We'll just sit and you can pick my brain on anything you want. You can pick my brain on building electric bass guitars, forging knives, racing cars, racing motorcycles, climbing mountains, real estate, whatever you guys want to talk about.
Awesome.
Okay.
Well,
Does that sound fair?
We'll post that on today's Workplace for the recording. We'll just say post it, and whoever gets the most likes on their Facebook page, bought it, and then we'll schedule that out. Russ, thanks for that.
Got it. Easy stuff. I'm coming that way anyway. So good stuff. I'd love to give back if I can. All right, good. Tom, if you want to set up some other type of competition of some kind, so you can add a second. So let's make sure there's 4 of us. So it'll be you. I don't know if we want Curtis there. Do we need to invite Curtis? Curtis, do you want to be there? Okay, so Tom and Curtis, okay, and then two of your favorite friends. You could do whatever kind of shenanigans you want. Hoop jump, light stuff on fire. I don't care, right? Whoever can sing the funniest Russ song, I like whatever. I don't care what it is. Okay, good. So that's recipe number 1. Good, guys, can you use that?
Absolutely.
If we stopped now and you did nothing else, do that consistently and you'll start having business come to you. I promise you. Do it consistently for the next year. Do it every month. Follow the formula that I talk about in the other video and hit those different points, right? And you're going to have stuff starting to come to you. Okay, best way in the world to build credibility. Good. All right. So real estate recipe number 2. By the way, this is the recipe for sphere of influence. I don't know if you guys have ever seen this. Tom, have you seen this? This is a sphere of influence build recipe.
I've seen you do it before.
This is plus houses equals plus cash equals plus people. And the more people you have, the more houses you sell, the more houses you sell, the more cash you make, the more people you get, the more houses you sell. And this is a real estate cycle. And the more houses you sell, the more money you make. So, hey guys, the goal is to sell more houses, right? And in order to do that, you need more people. So the more people you have, the more houses you get. And that's what that is right there. So I just explained it. So this is just the stick figure version of that. Okay. It really is that simple. And you guys go, well, yeah, Russ, but it's not working like that for me. Well, if you start doing the right stuff, it will start working like that. Okay. So market updates 1. Number 2, this one's an important one. And here's why. You can add people to your sphere of influence, but even when you do this really well and you full donkey it, this one only converts at about 5% consistently. So I want you to work your sphere, your current people first. And then in the process of doing that, you want to add more credibility, right? So I can show you guys a way to add a bunch more credibility really fast. So here's how it goes. And a bunch more contacts really fast. Here's how it goes. How often does the average homeowner in the US move?
7 years.
10 years.
It's about every 7 years. It goes up and down. It actually went way down because people are moving around a ton in the last couple of years. But typically it's running right around 7. So let's just say 7 as a rough number. I don't want to use 5 because I don't want to give you pie in the sky stuff. So this is more conservative going with 7. Okay. Let me ask you guys this. Tom, you have a house?
Sure.
Okay. Is your house perfect?
No, it's not
Okay.
perfect.
Does stuff break on it?
Absolutely.
How often does stuff break on your house?
You know what? I'm forever having a honey-do list of fixing stuff, painting stuff and everything else.
All the time, right? So not everybody's super handy Andy guy, right? So what happens is I could say conservatively 7 things on a house breaks, whether it's one of the sprinkler heads gets knocked off or the electric outlet's not working or GFI pops or you got a small leak in the stupid gutter won't stop leaking. And then you got there's always something going on. So let's just round off to about 7 times a year, something breaks on a house that somebody needs somebody else to help with. Okay. That would not be an unusual number. A lot of people do it yourself, fix it yourself stuff. But if you have stuff breaking and they need somebody, this is a pretty good number, pretty round number. Okay. So here's the fun part. If the person moves every 7 years, but stuff on their house breaks 7 times a year, if you have a contractor list that you manage, you would have a list where you would have 49 times more contact than just selling houses. This happens once every 7 years, a house sale. Stuff breaks on a house 7 times a year. So that's 49 more times contact if you manage a contractor list. So people are saying, Russ, how do I get my phone to ring? I don't want to call people. I want my phone to ring. And I say, well, then start managing a contractor list. Here's the reason. Because people start to see you as their resource for everything house. You become their resource expert for real estate market update. And then they're like, hey, anytime something goes on my house, I'm calling Russ because he's got a contractor list of preferred contractors that do a good job. And by the way, people call me and they go, hey, do you have a whatever? And I say, no, I don't, but I can reach out to my network and I'll find one for you. People go, Russ, I don't want to be Angie's List. Yes, you do, right? Because if they're going to call you when it's time for a plumber, when it's time to sell their house, guess who they're going to call? Guess who they better call? You called me 7 times a year for the last 7 years and didn't call me when it's time to sell the house. You need to call a fireman now because I'm burning your house down. Kidding. Okay, so you want to manage a contractor list. Okay, so contractor list is super simple to do. Okay, all you're going to do is go out onto your favorite social media and you're going to say, hey, I need a plumber that shows up on time, is a fair price, communicates well, and does a good job. Who do you know? And they have to have actually worked in your house. Because people are like, well, you got to call my guy Bill. Has Bill ever worked in your house? No. Well, then how do you know he's good? Right? So you're going to get recommendations from people that you know are good, that have reference. Basically, it's a reference, right? Because here's the thing. If you start a contractors list and all your contractors are wonky and they're all over the place, is it going to help you or hurt you? It's going to hurt you probably, right? Are there times when contractors are going to do weird stuff? Absolutely. So don't be surprised when you get a contractor who does weird stuff, but it's better than having nothing. They reached out to you and the person doesn't call them back. You know, that's not on me, but at the same time, that gives me a note to say, hey, listen, if this guy's not calling back and my backup's not calling back, then I need to get another one. So I'm gonna go back and say, hey guys, I need somebody I need a plumber that communicates well. Find one that communicates well. There are good contractors out there. Now, keep in mind, there are a lot of contractors that don't do a good job in the back end business part and picking up the phone part and the billing part and the showing up part and the doing estimates part. You're going to find one of these guys, one of these plumbers has a backup person in their office that does all that stuff for them. And those are the people that are going to pick up the phone on a regular basis. So you'll find them, right? They are out there where they have a business system where they actually have the ability to pick up the phone. If the guy's under the sink talking to you on the phone, that guy's going to fail a lot in communication. He's going to miss a lot of business, but he's going to fail a lot. So find the right ones, okay? So here's the fun part. You've got a sphere of influence you're building, right? And you're building your sphere of influence. There are some people in your sphere of influence that are contractors. So here's what you do. If you know one of your people in your sphere is a contractor, you reach out to them and say, hey, I'm Russ the Realtor, the real estate dude. I'm building a preferred contractor list. I understand that you're a plumber. Give me a call back. I just want to make sure we're on the same page what I'm doing. My number is boom, boom, boom. Look forward to working with you. Here's the fun part. If they don't call you back, you don't put them on your list, right? You don't put them on your list. And then somebody goes, well, I don't know why you don't put Chris on your list. Well, I don't know. I called Chris and left him a voicemail. He never called me back. If he didn't call me back, I can't imagine he's going to call my clients back. So no offense, but Chris needs to pick up his phone. I'd be happy to do business with him, but he needs to pick up his phone. So some of your customers, some of your sphere of influence are contractors. Some of them are good. Some of them aren't. Make sure you put the good ones on there, okay? So here's the fun part. I have a list, Curtis, of 60 contractors, types of contractor people that touch houses. I have a list of that so you don't have to figure it out. And all you got to do is just go on social, ask who, blah, 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 who, and then after that, you're gonna get 7, 8, 9 people respond back on a lot of this stuff, okay? Oh, and by the way, guys, if you ever need somebody, make sure you reach out to me. I'll be happy to connect you. Now you've got people reaching out to you again, right? You got people starting to reach out. Hey, do you have a floor guy? Yeah, what kind of floor guy? Do you need a wood floor guy? You need a tile floor guy? You need a concrete floor guy? What type of floor guy do you need? I got 3 of them. They're like, oh, well, shoot. I need a tile floor guy. Okay, great. Tile floor guy. So he's on the list, right? So you got a tile floor guy. And then you just go on the market and say, hey, I don't have somebody I know is great. Let me reach out to my network and see if I can find somebody for you. And then you pop it in social. You're going to 3, 4 things. Make the phone call. Hey, this is Russ the Realtor. Just want to touch base with you. And I've got a person that wants to do tile floor. And I just wanted to make sure that you were good before I referred you. I want to make sure you're good and you return phone calls before I refer you. Yeah. So give me a call back. Blah, 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 blah. Cool. Good. They call you back. Bam. You run them right over and you private message it to the other person. Okay. So here's the fun part. When you do your market update, somebody comments on that, you respond to their comment, and then the private messages, you go in and say, hey, thanks for that comment. Let me know if you ever need anything. By the way, I have a contractor list. If you ever need a contractor, let me know. I'm a resource for that too. And what happens by doing that, when they hit on your social media and then you type back thanks, and then you hit them in the private message afterwards and offer them the contractor list, number one, they're going to say, yeah, heck yeah. By the way, don't give them the list. Just say, if you ever need anybody, reach out to me. And when you do that and you hit them in the private message like that, tied to a post, it automatically drops you in their feed. And like the next 4, 5, 6 things you post, boom, it's in their feed. Okay. This is how you hijack somebody else's feed on social media. Good. Okay. So here's the fun part. My list of contractors is about 60, right? So are all contractors created equal? Nope. So are there high-end ones and low-end ones? Yes. So do we need a high-end plumber and a low-end plumber? High-end plumber and a fix and flipper plumber, handyman plumber? Sure, absolutely. So now this list turns into 120 because you got to have 2 of each. Okay. And just in the normal course of business, hey, I'm Russ the Realtor and I'm looking for somebody that does this. Now I'm top of mind as Russ the Realtor building a contractor list instead of, hey, I'm Russ the Realtor, look at me, I do real estate. Now I'm adding a service and I'm adding value to the market. In conjunction with your real estate market update, people are going to start to see you as a local expert and adding value. Now, here's the other fun part. Guys, remember, I told you the contractor list closes at about 5% when you do a good job working it. Let me ask you this. Do you guys know any contractors now? Yeah. Are you going to know a bunch more? Sure. Do they all live in houses? Yeah. So these guys all live in houses. So they become part of your sphere. By the way, hey, Mr. Contractor, in the meantime, while you're doing that, thanks. I'm going to put you on my list. You're going to be on my preferred list. And by the way, I do a real estate market update every month that tells you what's going on in the market. Would you like me to send that to you too? And they'll say, yeah, because these guys are in people's houses and they're like, hey, before I list my house, I need to fix that plumbing leak and hide it so nobody can see it. So the plumber knows that somebody's going to sell their house way before you know they're going to sell their house. Okay. So that's one thing you want to top of mind. Okay. It's still, I've only seen it convert at about 5% because contractors are all over the place. But when we track it, it runs at about 5%. So let's see, do the math at 5. That's 6 more sales just from managing a contractor list in the next 12 months. It's going to take you 12 months to build it, guys. But if you say, hey, I'm just going to add 4 contractors a month or 4 contractors a week for the month, that's 16 every month, right? You end up in the 200 range. Okay. So if you end up in the 200 range of contractors, that's 10 sales in a year. So you go, well, but how do I go from 120, Russ? Well, okay, great. Do you have a good, you got a good guy now, right? And you got a guy that's a flip guy. And then, by the way, are they busy? Sure they are. So do I need a backup? Sure. So I need 2 high-end plumbers and I need two budget plumbers. Because there's somebody's going to make a call and say, like, hey, Joe's available. He's not available for 3 weeks because he's good. The backup guy might be available next week. Okay. So I can get 2 of each. Now I've got 240 people in my contractor list. I can add 12 sales to my sphere of influence over the next year by building up my contractor list and make sure everybody on your contractor list gets your market update. And you say, well, Russ, but they know 7 other realtors. I know that. I agree. I believe you. And none of them are sending the guy a market update. And you are. So, hey, anybody here go to church? Yeah. Okay. So, yeah, they're like, well, how many realtors are at your church? Well, Russ, you don't understand. There's 25 realtors at my church. Okay, great. How many of those realtors are sending a market update to everybody that they are connected with on a monthly basis? None of them are. Do you guys get a market update from anybody else in your church? Nope. I've never seen anybody say yes to that yet. Someday somebody's going to say yes. Very, very, very rare that somebody gets a market update from somebody in their church. So with that being said, are you doing something that's going to make you stand out? Are you going to build more credibility? Are you going to start looking like they're expert and you are a resource? This is how you dominate. It's like, well, Russ, but that guy's been the realtor of choice for the church for 25 years. And that person, there's a bunch of people in that church would love another option because just because Bill is awesome, there are a bunch of people like, I will do business with anybody but Bill. Okay. So you can be that alternative. And then Bill's going to get old and croak, and then you got his spot. You become the new Bill. Here's how you sneak in. Okay. So contractor list is super important. Even if it closes at 5%, add to it, it works out for your sphere really, really well. Okay. You guys still believe me? Does this sound like something you guys can do?
Absolutely.
Okay. But you got to do it. You got to do it intentionally.
Yep.
Go ahead, Tom.
Intentional.
I had a question.
Go ahead.
What do you do to maintain your contractor list? How do you follow up with them on a regular basis, like every couple of months, or how do you maintain that list with contractors?
So in the normal course of,
Market
normal
update,
course-
marketing.
I'm sorry, Mara. Got to mute your phone there. So a couple things. Number one, you're going to have stuff break on your house and you're going to need to use some of these contractors, right? Number two, anytime you refer somebody over, you're just like, hey, by the way, I want to touch base with you. I just referred Curtis to you. He said he broke his toilet for the 5th time. He keeps doing this. I don't know what's going on, but something's wrong, right? Stop playing with G.I. Joes on the toilet seat. That's what I keep suggesting, right? By the way, kids flush plastic toys down toilets all the time. It's a very common thing. I'm not being crude. Okay, so in the process, you'll be like, hey, by the way, just want to touch base. I sent Curtis to you. How did that go? Good? Anything I need to do different for that connection? Just touch base with him once in a while. Hey, this is Russ, the realtor guy. I just want to touch base with you. See, are you still good? You still want to stay on the preferred contractor list? Great. Hey, by the way, have you seen the market update regularly? Cool. Good. Let me know if you ever need anything. Okay. And in the process of just living life, people are going to break stuff, and some of them get used, some of them don't get used. Okay. But in the process, they're still getting your market update every once in a while. And by the way, when I do any type of my sphere get together stuff, I invite all of them too. Right? Because they're not just my contractor list, but they're also part of my sphere. I'm part of their sphere, but they're part of my sphere. Okay. So the more you can connect, the more you can connect. Okay. Good. All right, by the way, so I've got a white paper that has a list of those 60, and it's got the little instruction manual down on the bottom that tells you how to do that. So it can remind you how to do that. You guys good with that? You want me to send that to you too?
Yeah.
I'll pile that in with you, Tom.
Pile it in, load it up.
Last recipe, number 3. People are saying, Russ, I don't understand. Like, it's so hard to build my sphere. It's so hard to build my sphere. Well, I'm going to say, okay, go out and be more social, right? Go out and be more social. Go out and do stuff. And some of you might say, well, Russ, you don't understand. I'm completely broke. I know, I've been there. I thank God I'm not there anymore. Listen, guys, they say it's harder for a man to get into heaven that's rich than squeezing a camel through a needle or something like that, right? The Russ paraphrase version. Like, listen, guys, the more money you make, the more money you can give. You cannot give a whole lot of anything when you've got a whole lot of nothing, okay? So the more you have, the more you can give. So get a bunch and just don't be a pig about it, okay? Get a bunch and give back a bunch, right? You can give from a position of strength way better than you can give from a position of weakness, right? Really hard for a homeless dude to give you a 20 because he doesn't have one, right? He's got to go panhandle for a 20 to be able to give you a 20, right? So sometimes $20 is a game changer for certain people, okay? So for those of you saying, hey, Russ, you know what? I am not cash flush at the moment. I am temporarily out of cash. You are not broke. You are not poor. You are temporarily out of cash. Your job is to get more cash, okay? So in the process of doing that, there are a bunch of things that you can do that are almost free. There's nothing truly free, right? But look, we got Boy Wonder there, muscle dude, good looking guy down there walking, right? How much does it cost to walk? By the way, are there walking groups? Yeah. Should some of us walk more? Uh-huh. Yeah. Could you do a biking group? Sure. Borrow a bike, steal a bike. I don't care how you get one, but join a biking group. And you got to show up consistently. Show up consistently and participate in your life. Are there reading groups? Yes. Can you do Zoom reading groups? Yes. Can you do quilting groups? Absolutely. Are there people that like to fish? Fishing poles are cheap. You can go to Walmart and get a whole rig and a little bag of worms. And like, even if you're just drowning worms, you can meet people fishing. You start a fishing meetup. Okay. Go on meetup.com. It's not for finding special singles in your life, right? Boating. Yeah. Boating. Listen, if you got more than $2, go boating. We had a lady in my office. It's like, Russ, I just want to marry a rich guy with a boat. And she said that like 100 times. I finally looked at her. I was like, Ellen, why don't you hang out at the marina more often? And she looked at me and she goes, oh my God, that's a brilliant idea. Never occurred to me. It's like, do you hang out where boats are? No, she's in like Carrollwood, Florida, in the middle of Tampa, right? I'm like, go and hang out at the marinas. Go to the marina bars and hang out instead of hanging out the one in Carrollwood. And she's like, that is a brilliant idea. You're only going to find a rich guy with a boat if you're hanging around the boats, right? So start thinking, gaming, cigar club. Oh, cigar clubs. There's something to that, guys. You can sit in a cigar club. Yes. But yes, totally. Particularly in Tampa. You grab a cigar, sit down. Man, I will tell you, every single time in every single bar, cigar bar anywhere, people will say, hey, Russ, well, what do you do? I'll sit down, random strangers park next to each other, smoke a cigar, talk shop, and you'll meet a bunch of great people. Doesn't matter what walk of life you're from, people will talk to you. It's a great place to connect with people, okay? By the way, coffee shops are a great way to connect to people too. You can sit in a coffee shop, and somebody's like, all I do is sit in the coffee shop, and then I say hello to people, they come in and smile at them, and they're like, hey, how you doing? Great. What are you working on today? Just quick nonsense stuff, and next thing you know, how's the market? Boom, and they're tagging 5 a week just going to the coffee shop, okay? So guys, you can do this very, very low budget if you need to, okay? So social. So think of it like this. I want you to do cool stuff, and you don't even have to go into these restaurants, but I prefer if you're going to promote a restaurant, you've actually ate there, kind of novel, right? So what you want to do is say, hey, I like food, so I'm going to do restaurant reviews. Are any of you guys in Orlando? How many of you guys are in Orlando? Okay, cool. So let me do a social post. Hi, I'm Russ Laggin, the real estate dude, and I'm outside a little restaurant called Yellow Dog. If you guys haven't been here to Yellow Dog, this is the coolest little wacky weird place. It looks like the termites have been having their own personal buffet on this building for the last 100 years. By the way, I looked closely. The building is not going to fall on your head, but it looks like it might. When you go in there, you want to make sure a couple things are important. You want to make sure, number one, you go there with a sense of humor. And number two, you want to make sure you get there early because the place gets packed pretty quick, particularly for lunch, gets packed real fast. Read the menu, not just what you're looking for. Read the menu. It's got some really funny stuff in the menu. And if you get there early enough with 4 or 5 of your friends, you can have lunch and a cold beer in a Volkswagen bus in the backyard in the shade. Fantastic food, cold beer, great ambiance. If you haven't seen Yellow Dog, check it out. I'm Russ the Realtor. See you on the next video. Now I just did a food review of Yellow Dog. By the way, if you guys ever been to Yellow Dog in Orlando, Yellow Dog, go there. Go there. And it's inexpensive. Okay. Good price, great food, interesting ambiance, and you can sit outside, and it's just a crazy, wacky, fun place to go, right? So I could do one of those a week. So go somewhere interesting, promote local small businesses, and by the way, I say, hey, who's a manager or owner here? I just did a quick promo of your thing. Would you want me to tag you on it? And now in the process of going to have food, I do a quick promo of their restaurant, and I get somebody's information that I can add to my sphere of influence, tag them, and they become part of my network. I say, by the way, I do a real estate market update, tells people what's going on in the market. Also, by the way, I do a real estate contractor list of preferred contractors that fix things that are broken. Do you ever have anything breaks on the restaurant? Would you like to have acts? Like, if you ever need anybody, don't hesitate to reach out to me because I have contractors who can probably help you with that. Sound good?
Love it.
Do you see how the 3 recipes interweave with each other and connect with each other? And this is just part of living your life and doing your day-to-day normal going out and about. Okay. So if nothing else. Okay. By the way, I have a white paper on that, Tom. I'll send you that too. It's got a list of the different things you can do. Guys, just do something and do it consistently. For me, I love checking out wood places. Most people don't care about them. I love checking out wood places. I have Russ the Realtor, check out a wood place, right? Start doing social media posts that aren't look at me, I'm a realtor. It's, hey, I'm Russ the Realtor out doing cool stuff. By the way, also in your market right there, if somebody popped into your market and said, hey, what are 3 things I got to do? If I'm only here for 3 days, what are 3 things I got to do? You should do social posts on that and start building a repertoire of that on YouTube. So what happens is people aren't searching for a realtor in Orlando. They're looking for cool places to hike in Orlando, cool places to ride a bike in Orlando, cool places to fish in Orlando. Hey, if you're in Orlando and you want to pop over to a beach, here's 2 beaches you should check out that are reasonably close. Okay. You guys should do all that stuff for your local cities and your local towns. Here's 5 places you can take your kids to play. Hey, if you're looking for somewhere to take kids to play, these are 5 places I checked out that are cool. You do them one at a time. Now you've got social media posts. Hey, I'm Russ the Realtor. I'm at bounce house number 4. You guys got to check this out. Man, I think a kid just broke his neck over there. Nope, he's back up. Dang, kids are like Gumbies. You can't hurt them. I got a trampoline. I'd be broken in half in 30 seconds. Okay. So social media, start doing that kind of social media. I've got a white paper on that with an instruction manual. Start living a cool life. If you don't have a whole lot of cash, do things that are free and tell people what's going on in the market. People want real estate agents now that are hyper local. So start with your hyper local, show them all the cool places to play, where all the schools are, what all the neighborhoods are, what all the cool restaurants are, what entertainment places there are, fun things to do in that area. Start with that and then start broadening your circle. Good? All right, hour's up.
Hey, Russ, thank you. I take a lot of notes on every call and every meeting I ever go to. So, I mean, I literally take notes. And a couple things that I wanted to highlight and say thank you for is, as a real estate professional, we should know the market anyways, local, hyper local, city,
Yeah.
state, right?
Yeah.
And if you want to be the realtor of expert, you know, like my community itself, I know the floor plans, I know the square footage, I know
Yep.
the sales, I know
Yep.
everything. So one of the neighbors called me and said, hey, Tom, I'm going to hire this agent that's an hour away because they guaranteed I can get about $1 million. I said, well, that's funny. When they list your home for $1 million and sell it, can they come and list mine because it's about 200,000 overpriced?
Yeah.
And they don't know
I'll
the
take
market, they don't know the floor plan, they don't know this, and actually they're misrepresenting you and hurting you. Here's why. So he
Yeah.
decides to hire us, right? So know your market is awesome. Hyper local, send a video, find people in your tribe. And then what I love too is you said this again, and I missed this at last Monday, is on Facebook, write your, I need a contractor list. And when you start making your posts, they're going to be involved in those posts and their friends will be as well. So thank you. Love it. I appreciate you taking the time to be here. We're open for Q&A. How much time do you have for a hard stop, Russ?
I'm good for about 15 minutes. I got to start prepping for 11 o'clock. I am the host of the Friday Big Agent Meeting every Friday at 11 a.m. live.
Yep, I've seen
so
that for the
I'm-
EXP. I've seen that.
yeah.
Yep.
I'm live with about 1,000 of my favorite friends every Friday.
Love
at
it, love
11 o'clock. So I got a
Love
couple
it.
minutes to stick around and answer some questions.
Awesome. So yeah, I
Ted.
did see that on the Facebook this
Yeah,
morning.
Ted's got a question. What's up?
Yeah,
What's up?
thanks for having me, guys. Russ, so when they say, okay, how's the market doing? And then you say, okay, I have a market update that I send. What do you getting from them? Just their email, or are you getting their
All of it.
email, phone number?
All of it. All of it. So how much of their info do I want? All of it. That's your opportunity. You just got to ask for it, right? A lot of people are like, Russ, it's really hard to get people's address.
Right.
Not when you just offer to get, hey, by the way, in the market update, the next level stuff is you're going to do this on social and so forth. You're also going to drop it on put it on a YouTube channel, because you need to have one of those anyway, by the way, because that's where people are going to find you more likely is YouTube. And then the last one is mail it to them. Okay, you're going to mail an update to them, because I guarantee you, if I mail it to them, it ends up at their house. 99.9% of the time, it ends up at their house. They might read it. They might just open it up and go, oh, it's Russ, throw it away. But at least they saw it, right? So do I need their address? Yeah. So I want name, phone number, email address, and home address. And they'd be like, well, why do you need a home address? Well, every once in a while, I do a printed version of it. Every 3 months or so, I do a printed version of it and I send it to the house. And if you give it to me, then it saves me the time having to go online, because I can pull it out of tax records. You just save me time by giving it to me. Like if they just asked you for something, you just offered to give it to them, they're going to be willing to give you the info to go forward. So again, if they start struggling and fighting you on it, say, hey, listen, no, I'm not trying to sell you anything. You asked me how's the market. I offered to tell you how the market is. If you don't want it, that's fine. Just no worries. I'll move on. I'm not going to fight somebody to be in my sphere, right? Nothing says, hey, I really don't want to be here more than that. So just walk away from them. It's fine. Not everybody's your tribe. Cool. There's a bunch of people that are, though. Okay, good. Simon.
Hey, Russ, if you took all of us from today's call to Michigan, I guarantee you all the snow would melt, because our head's on fire from everything that you taught. So thank you for that. When you're doing this market report, you just send it out like on a monthly to them, and are you following up? Are you putting them in a drip cane like, hey man, what's going on, or anything like that? Or is that too annoying, or just the market report?
So think of it like this. When I send anything to anybody, I want to ask this question. Is this for them, or is this promoting me? If
Okay.
it's just promoting me, I'm not doing it, right? So here's the deal, guys, like real estate agents across the country. So there's appropriate touch and inappropriate touch, physically and otherwise, right? Like, do they really want your crap on nonsense that has nothing to do with them? They want stuff that's about them. Like, let's be human, right? Humans, it's all about me, right? And just assume for them, and this is not being crude or crass, but in the grand scheme of things, when push comes to shove, it's all about me in the end. So if you're sending me stuff that's helpful to me, great. If you're sending me stuff that's helpful to you, why? Like, I don't want your crap on how great you are. Like, I see people like, I'm the #1 real estate agent and blah, blah, blah. And everybody else is going like, who gives a crap, right? This is the kind of stuff that has brought the real estate agent to just one step above used car salesman. Literally, when they rank people in credibility, real estate is only one step above used car salesman. So if we stop doing this self-promoting, shameless self-promotion stuff and start thinking add value in every interaction we have. Now, I'm not saying don't show people, hey, I sold a house. You're going to do that on occasion, but you're going to do that one for every 4 of other stuff, right? I'm Russ the Realtor adding value. It's not I'm Russ the Realtor trying to show you how great I am. So when you get rid of that, I don't need to show you how great I am. I'm going to add value. People are going to think you're great. If you go out and try to make people think you're great, you're just going to alienate them. So our job isn't to add people and then alienate them and drive them nuts and hump them all around the place to the point where they finally say, just stop sending me crap. What I don't want to do is I don't want to send them so much garbage that's about me and other stuff that's not pertinent to them that they stop wanting to engage in any of it, or they just delete it, or they just fog over and just glaze past it. When they see something for me, I want them to stop and say, oh, this is probably for me. That's the mindset shift, right? And what happens is you get willing participants that want to participate with you and engage with you because they know you're not going to try to fleece them. By the way, there's a coach that I grew up with that said, everybody in your sphere of influence, once every 3 weeks, you make the quick phone call. Hey, do you know anybody thinking about buying or selling real estate? No, click, get the next one. Do you know anybody thinking about buying or selling real estate? No, click, get the next one. You do that to your sphere twice, you've just ruined your sphere for life. Right? But if I called you up right now and said, hey, Simon, I got $100. You want it? What do you say?
Yeah, absolutely. What's the catch?
Okay, well, great. So I'm just going to send you $100. So I'm going to send you $100 again. When do you want me to call you back?
Yeah, I get it. Yeah, I understand what you're saying.
Okay, so if it's something valuable that you potentially want, and of course they don't always want this stuff, but this is something that'll be running in the background, making sure that they're seeing that this is an expert not trying to fleece me, this is an expert giving in the market. By the way, it's a big part of the reason why this social thing is important. It's me helping promote other businesses. Okay, so when I get a contractor and it's a good contractor and they do a good job, I'm going to do social and say, hey, by the way, I had Chris over to my house because we had G.I. Joe stuck in the toilet for the 80th time. Tom, stop playing with G.I. Joes on a toilet seat. And Chris did a good job. So if you need a good plumber, don't hesitate to reach out to Chris. He did a good job, fair price, showed up on time, kept his pants pulled up. That's Chris, my favorite plumber. Okay, so I can do social media posts on all these guys. I'm cross promoting other people's businesses. When I start promoting other people's businesses, what do they want to do in reciprocity? You know what the law of reciprocity is?
Give
I do
back to
something
you.
nice for you. Your human nature makes you want to do something nice back, right? Does it work on a 1-to-1? No, but if it works on a 1 to, half, right? That's good enough for me because I've got the volume to be able to say, if only half of them reciprocate in a year, 12. Good. Yeah, like your brain just went. It's okay, brother. I've seen that look more than once. It's all good. So here's the thing, guys, just grab one little piece of this and start working with it. So this week, can you do something on this list? Yes, absolutely. This week, can you do something that adds people to your sphere? Do it intentionally. Okay. So every week I've got to add 5 people to my sphere. I'm going to add value with the market update. I'm going to add value with the contractor list, and I'm going to add value with social. By the way, right now, right out of the gate, you can add 5 people a week to your sphere just from building a contractor list. So if you do nothing else, you can proactively do that. You don't have to leave your house for that. Hey, any of you guys with a company that would encourage you to do some attraction or recruiting? Yeah. Anybody? Okay, good. So if you are trying to build your team, build your tribe, build your people around you, build your systems, build your organization, whatever you're doing, every single one of these recipes I send to every single realtor I know. So if I do a real estate transaction, I send this to every real estate agent I know. And here's the reason why. Couple things. Over time, you're going to have a bunch of real estate agents that get your stuff too. Number one, they're not doing it themselves most of the time. Number two, you're delivering their stuff. Number three, I become their expert. If I become their expert, when they have a hiccup in their business, who are they calling? They're calling me. So now I can add people to my system, my sphere, my organization by doing that. And that's not the intent right out of the gate is sell more houses, but in the process, you're going to bump into other realtors. And by the way, hey, other realtor on the other side of my deal, I do a contractor list and I manage that. If you have anybody you love that's good, I can add them to my contractor list. And if you ever need anybody, reach out to me. If I become a resource to the other realtors in the market, guess what? Next time I'm out doing a deal and they've gotten my market update for the last year, I go to a deal and I bring my buyer. It's like, hey, this is Russ Lag, the realtor. Hey, blah, blah, blah. Hey, I got this buyer that we're going to be taking a look at your house. I just want to make sure I touch base and say hi since we're in each other's spheres of influence. And hey, if I can get these guys to do the right deal, I'd love to do business with you again. Now I've got credibility with people in my market. So when I go show a buyer a house, they're like, Russ, bring your buyer. Bring your offer. I will make the sellers use you. If we can get something equal to the other guys, we'll use you every time because we know you're awesome. We know you'll get the deal to the closing table. We know you got your buyer scripted for the right stuff and they don't do wonky crap and bail out. But that's because I built a ton of credibility. Now I've got credibility in the market with all the other realtors. And when I go toe to toe, we've got 10 offers, mine's close. They're going to want to go with me. And by the way, that happens in real life. Okay. All right, good.
Can
Hand
I ask a
up.
question real quick?
Yeah, David, go.
Hey, so it was kind of serendipitous that you started talking about these things today because I was just putting together, well, I've got my contractor list and I've just gotten on the whole smart number train and I'm like going crazy with it. So text code for contractors, what do you think? Like putting that out to, people and emails and stuff like that. If you need a contractor, fix it to, my smart number.
Yeah.
And what contractor are you looking for? And then start a conversation.
I think, so me personally, it really bothers me when people group text me crap that I'm not looking for currently. I want people to reach.
No, not a group text.
So you're breaking up when you said it.
It's
so
not a group text.
Okay, what is it? Tell me more.
So it's from my smart number. My smart number is a number that people can text code to, and it sends them back automated information. So I don't have to be a part of that until I want to be a part of it.
Got it. So here's the thing. I don't necessarily, so right now for most of you guys, running this manual mode would be great because you're going to have the connection. So I don't want to implement technology things that avoid human contact. That is what a lot of the newer real estate people are doing. It's like, I've got all these systems that don't make me have to contact humans, and then they don't have relationships with humans, and then humans don't do business with them, and their hit rates are way below 10%. So for right now, I want to do it in a much more manual mode. And here's the reason why. I don't want to have them be able to get my whole list, David. If I hand off I just want to hand off one contractor at a time. Guys, trust me, this is not going to be 40 hours a week of you being a contractor placement service. It doesn't work like that. But you're going to get a couple here and a couple there. The fact is you're going to have the credibility of building the thing out and the connections that go with it and the relationship building. So what I don't want to do is I don't want to hand them my whole list, because if I hand them my whole list, the next time something breaks, they go to the list. They don't go to me.
Okay, gotcha. So maybe
I want to be the gatekeeper. So every time they need somebody, I'm going to be the gatekeeper. And trust me, it's not going to be something that happens 20 times a week. It'll be 1, 2, 3 times a week. Most of it'll pop on social, by the way.
okay, so maybe it would be so I have the interaction, right? I say, oh, I'll send you the market report. And then at the bottom with my email signature, once I've already had the personal interaction, every time I send out a market report, at the bottom says like, got a honeydew list, need somebody to fix it, text this to this number. And then like when they text fix it to my smart number, then I can reply like, hey, I saw you were looking for a contractor. What sort of contractor do you need? And then that starts the personal back and forth.
Yep.
Does that sound better?
Yeah, absolutely. I love that. Okay. So that's good.
Okay,
so
cool.
you have a little bit of automation, and that little bit of automation simplifies it getting to you so you can have a human interaction. Guys, the whole deal with this is more human interactions, relationships. Think about it. If I only had a relationship with my wife on Facebook, you think it'd be pretty good? Wait a minute. Some of you guys be like, actually my relationship would be a lot better if I didn't have to talk to her. I'm kidding. But like it's a relationship business. You think of it like this. You're adding value and building a relationship. You're building a relationship by adding value. You're not building a relationship by trying to get stuff from them so many times that they know your name. Okay. And that's the way the real estate industry is typically done. You get them to know your name by badgering the crap out of them for so long that they know your name. You become a household name because they're sick of seeing it. You don't want to be that. You want to be the resource for them and add value for them so that they see your name and they start thinking that guy's always giving stuff. That guy's always got good stuff. They're going to ignore most of it, right? They're going to see it in passing, but they're going to see Russ the Realtor giving, Russ the Realtor adding value, not Russ the Realtor saying, gimme, which is what most of the rest of our industry does. Okay.
Awesome. Thanks, Russ. I appreciate that.
And when you call them, you're just like, hey, this is Russ the Realtor. I saw you text saying you needed somebody. I just want to touch base with you. Great. Give me a little more info. You need a high-end plumber, low-end plumber? Which one do you need? Are you fixing flipper stuff, or are you doing high-end stuff? Are you doing a shower with a freaking computer control panel? I don't want to send my fix and flipper guy to do that. He's going to have a heart attack when he sees that, right? And I don't want to send my $1 million guy to my fix and flipper. And he's be like, where's the control panel? And by the way, it's $1,000 for me to show up because I know how to do the control panel. They're like, what control panel? Like, oh yeah, you don't live like this. Right? So but like, make sure you're using the right tool for the right job, right? Not that one's better than the other, but make sure you got the right tool for the right job. Good?
One's more applicable
Hey,
than
Russ.
the other. I got you.
Agreed. Yes. In that moment, yes, for sure. Yeah.
Russ, Simon,
Yes.
are
Simon.
you gonna put something in the GPS list group that, you know, just categorizes the different types of contractor lists you have, you know, get like 3 landscapers, get like, you know, whatever, you know.
It's,
whatever
so
you're using.
I've got a white paper. Do you guys know what a white paper is?
Yeah.
It's the hand typed stuff. And then I got a little recipe on the bottom that shows you how to use it. Okay.
Perfect.
So it's got the instruction manual on the bottom.
When will we see that?
None of your business.
No, when will we get it?
None of your business. It's a
Oh,
surprise.
Okay.
I'll surprise you guys. I'll surprise you guys with it.
Okay.
So who was paying attention earlier? When is it going to get delivered?
You said you got a pile of them and you're
I'll
supposed to.
I'll
do it.
deliver it. I'll probably deliver it tomorrow because then you guys will all forget about it. And then when you get it, then you'll be like, oh my gosh, this guy did what he said he's going to do. Now I have credibility,
That's right. Yeah. Tomorrow. Yeah.
right? So probably by tomorrow. I'll probably have to coordinate with Tom because he's saying put it here. And I'm like, I don't know where that is. So I'll have to figure out where that is and then go. But I do have a nice little pile for you guys. So I think it's like 8 or 9 different chunks on that thing.
This
Okay.
Friday thing at 11 that you do all the time, where is that? Well, I'm pretty inspired by listening to you. Learn
Yeah,
more.
so
you know?
on Friday, I typically will interview one of the leaders, the top leaders of EXP, usually VP level and higher. So I've interviewed all the C group, Glenn Sanford, Jason Guessing, all the big dogs. And then I've also interviewed some of it's like today, I've got one of the regional operations managers. And you guys, are you with EXP?
Yeah, I'm with the XP.
Okay, so you're with EXP. So we have regional operations managers. You guys know what that is?
No clue.
Nobody knows what they are. That's why I'm going to interview one. So I'm going to do like 10 minutes with Andrew Schock and like, what do you do? How do you do? What is your role? And these guys are all people that work their ways up through the ranks. And they actually know how to sell houses. And they're touching you guys around the outside, helping manage the managers and the brokers. So these are the guys that help the brokers when the brokers get stuck and help the operation stuff when the operation stuff gets stuck. So I'm going to interview one of those guys, usually kind of a fun 10-minute conversation. I'd like to have some fun with them. And then today I've got a guy named Alan Adair. Alan Adair is a real estate agent out of Virginia. I met him last week and I'm like, dude, you're going to come on the show on Friday. And he talks a lot of stuff about social that's interesting. And he's just an on the ground real estate agent selling houses. And he's doing some fun stuff and interesting stuff that's cool and stuff that you guys could use too. So I'll interview him for about 30 minutes or so. And then we do an announcement or two for EXP. So that is an EXP World in the main auditorium. And it's also on the EXP channel live on YouTube. So it's live streaming on YouTube. So if you go to EXP Realty Live in YouTube, just type in EXP Realty. There's an EXP Realty Live channel and it'll be broadcast there live. And then you can go in, there's a whole series of stuff that's been saved in there. So I'm the host and I just drive them through it and ask questions and pull stuff out of them and doodle stuff all over my whiteboard. Because that's how I roll. All right. Good. That's all I got, guys. All right. Well, like, did all the big dogs abandon ship? Curtis is out. Cool. All right, guys. Well, I guess we're done for the day.
Thank you. I will stop the live, stop
Tiffany,
the
thanks.
recording.